Long, long ago, in a quiet village nestled among the rolling hills of Italy, there lived an old woman named Befana. Her house stood at the very edge of the village, small, stone built, and surrounded by a little garden where herbs grew even in winter. Everyone who lived nearby knew Befana. She was not unkind, nor was she unfriendly. She was simply busy, always busy. From sunrise to sunset, she swept her floors, dusted the shelves, washed her windows, and polished every corner until it gleamed. It seemed like Befana believed the whole world could be fixed simply by cleaning it. But deep in her heart, Befana was a little lonely. She had no family, no children, and very few visitors. And so she swept and cleaned to fill the quiet hours of her day. One cold winter evening, Befana was sweeping her doorsteps as she always did. As she swept, she noticed something unusual: a single star shining far brighter than all the others. It sparkled like a lantern in the sky, sending long silver rays across the hills and fields. Befana squinted up at it. She muttered. Probably just a trick of the eye. Now, where did that dustpan go? But the star continued to glow brighter and brighter until the whole village looked as though it was bathed in moonlight. Just as Befana turned to go inside, she heard the soft sound of bells. Ting, 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 ting. Then she heard the steady crunch of footsteps in the snow, but not the footsteps of people. They were heavier, slower, rhythmic. Befana stepped back onto her doorstep and peered into the darkness. And from the shimmering light of the strange star came three travelers, riding tall camels. One was wrapped in robes of deep purple, another in shimmering gold, and the third in sky blue. Their crowns glowed faintly under the star's light. Before Befana could decide whether she should run inside or call for help, the travelers arrived at her home and dismounted. The eldest of them bowed politely. Good evening, dear lady, he said. We are the three wise men, said another. We follow the great star in the sky. Befana, wiping her hands on her apron, asked suspiciously, and what business do you have in my little village? It's late, you know. The wise men smiled warmly. We are on a journey, explained the man in gold. A journey to find a very special child, a newborn king, a baby who will bring hope and peace to the world. And we bring gifts for him, added the one in blue, opening a small chest filled with gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Befana blinked at the glowing gifts. No amount of sweeping could ever produce something that beautiful. Dear woman, said the wise man in purple, we have traveled far and still have far to go. Will you join us on our journey to find the child? Befana's eyes widened. Join you? Leave my house? Tonight? But, but my floors. And I haven't even finished sweeping the kitchen. And the windows. Oh, just look at them. All streaky again. She waved her broom as if it were the most important treasure she owned. The wise men exchanged kind glances. The child will not mind if your floors are dusty, said the man in blue gently. But I will, exclaimed Befana. I can't go anywhere until everything is perfect. The wise men nodded sadly. We understand. But should you change your mind, follow the bright star. It will guide you. Then they mounted their camels and continued their journey into the night. Befana watched the shimmering silhouettes disappear over the hill. Later that night, Befana sat by her fireplace. The broom leaned nearby, but for once she did not reach for it. Instead, she stared into the flames, thinking about the wise men. A special child, she whispered. A king born to bring peace to the world? The thought tugged at her heart. She had spent so many years cleaning and polishing and sweeping, but what had any of it really brought to her? Her house shone like a palace, yet her heart felt empty and quiet. Suddenly she stood up. I should have gone, she cried. I should have gone with them. Without thinking, she grabbed a basket and began to fill it. She placed inside little cakes she had baked earlier, warm mittens she had sewn, and a tiny wooden toy she had once carved out of boredom. These are not gold or frankincense, she said softly, but they are the best I have. She wrapped her shawl around her shoulders, picked up her broom, more out of habit than need, and stepped outside. The stars still shone brightly overhead, almost as if it were waiting for her. All right then, Befana said firmly. Lead the way. She walked through snow covered paths, across frozen streams, and past sleeping villages. Wherever she went, the star glowed brighter, guarding her like a gentle lantern. Sometimes she grew tired. Sometimes the wind was so cold it bit at her cheeks. And sometimes she wondered if she would ever catch up to the wise men. But she kept going, step after step, breath after breath, driven by a warm feeling she could not explain. Along the way, Befana reached small cottages and towns. Through the frosted windows, she saw children tucked under blankets dreaming peacefully. She looked at the basket in her hands. She had more gifts than she needed. And these children looked so sweet, so hopeful, so full of innocence. So she left a little treat in each home she passed, a cookie here, a mitten there, a small toy next to a bedside. Perhaps one of you is the special child, she whispered to herself. Or perhaps all children are special in their own way. With each gift she left behind, her heart just felt a little lighter, a little warmer. Befana walked for many nights, always following the star. But no matter how far she went, she never caught up to the wise men. She reached Bethlehem too late. The stable was empty. The Holy Family had already moved on. Befana stood quietly in the doorway, clutching her basket of gifts she never got to give. Oh dear, she whispered sadly. If only I hadn't been so worried about my sweeping. But as she stepped outside, something magical happened. The star above her shimmered, and a gentle breeze wrapped around her like a warm embrace. It felt like a whisper. Your heart has found the child, even if your feet did not. Befana understood. Love, kindness, and giving from the heart were what truly mattered. From that night onward, Befana made a promise. If I cannot find the child, she said, I will bring gifts to every child I meet. For every child carries a spark of wonder, a spark of magic he brought into the world. So every year, in the night before Epiphany, Befana sets out once again. She flies across the night sky on her broomstick, carrying her basket full of gifts. She visits homes quietly, slipping down chimneys or tapping softly on windows. She leaves sweets for the kind hearted children and gentle reminders for the mischievous ones. And she always, always keeps her eyes open, hoping that one day she might still meet the child she missed long ago. So, the moral of the story is no act of kindness is ever wasted. It is never too late to share love. And sometimes the greatest journeys begin when we finally look up from the things that keep us busy.